What if inclusion wasn't just the right thing to do, but the smartest thing your brand could do? If your brand isn't thinking about inclusion, it's already behind. But how do we turn inclusion from talk into action? That's exactly what we aim to answer with this year's Included event.
We're at our second ever Included event, this time at Disability Pride Month, Happy Disability Pride, and we're calling it From Awareness to Action. So helping brands and agencies and partners to drive inclusivity and accessibility into everything they do from the ground up and realising the commercial potential around that. So it should be a fun evening.
I feel like it's kind of imperative that we talk about it in a commercial sense and economic sense at this point, because if you don't, then there's no other way to talk about it because it's not in the conversation. So for it to be in the forefront of people's minds, I think we have to bring up this value.
I think it's so important that brands do acknowledge that commercial value of working with the disabled community and targeting them. I think it's so untapped, and when you actually look at the stats, it's crazy that brands aren't tapping into that sooner, you know.
This room, no, it's both a moral imperative and a commercial imperative, but we've all got CEOs, CFOs, CMOs, who kind of go, but I need to hit my sales target. You can go, that's cool, that's your job. Your job is to hit the sales target. What I'm bringing you is a better way of hitting the sales target. And if you frame it like that, it is not just a moral imperative, it is both the right thing to do and a commercially good thing to do.
A lot of people think the disabled community is this really small percentage of the community when it's not. We're a huge number and we've got huge spending power, and like brands should be tapping into that. We have needs just like every other person on the planet, and a lot of the times we want to spend our money too, but we want to spend it with brands that actually care about us and see us as a valued customer. So I think the brands that do tap into the disabled community, you know, and they are accessible and they are inclusive, they're going to see so much better ROI than brands that aren't being inclusive and aren't willing to go on that journey.
If you're not talking to the disability community, it's like not talking to London. Like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Why, no one wants to do that. And you kind of go, you should probably take this quite seriously. And suddenly that was like okay, there is money to be made here, and if you don't make it, someone else is making it.
How would you advise them that they actually start measuring this so they can report back up the feature that it's working?
So the easiest way of doing this is this concept of an inclusion gap, right? And it's really easy to do. Basically, audit your brand for who buys your brand, and audit your competitors, well, the category basically, for who buys the category. And somewhere in that audit, there will be a gap.
From your experience, what does that look like? What does doing inclusion right as a brand, especially I suppose when engaging with an agency like us, like what's the dream client, I suppose?
Oh, okay. I think my dream client is one that's got a roadmap. It's not just doing an awareness piece to get eyes on the brand that's showing a little bit of diversity in one campaign. It's actually having that roadmap where we know we're going to be working with them over a year, so we can, lay the foundations and build upon that. It's not just doing a flash in the pan activation and saying, okay, cool, like done our bit, job's done. So yeah, for me, I think just making sure it's not a flash in the pan, it's not a one-off. We want that roadmap, and we want to keep the audience that we've built in that one-off awareness piece interested and engaged. We want to keep that brand front of mind, and I think audiences will see through those one-off activations as well. They want to know that brands are committed longer term. So yeah, having a longer term plan is key and crucial, I think.
One of the biggest things I always say to people is, what does your friendship group look like? What activities do you do? Where do you hang out? Who do you see on a daily basis? In your network, outside of your friends, in your work network, what does that look like? Who are you speaking to? And I think if we can educate people in that kind of aspect, even like what are you reading?
I think for me, a big part of this is just when you're in your next meeting or you're planning a campaign, just stop for a minute and look around the room and see who's sat at the table with you. Because if you've not got a disabled person at the table with you, or someone, different ethnicities, different genders, different sexualities, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be missing from the output of your campaign too.
Yeah, I completely echo that. I think one of the biggest issues, and I always talk about this, is that if it doesn't affect you personally, then you don't think about it. It's not a new topic, it's not something niche, it's not something that we need to get on board with because it's a trend, it's literally life. So I think if we could just embed that narrative into the advertising industry, and I to everyone else, then it will just become easier.
So what was the biggest takeaway from today's event for you?
There's more we can do, but it's just about making it normal and not about making the fact that we are all different the thing that is normal.
It's a 20-25% proportion of the UK population that is disabled. We shouldn't really be talking about them as being underrepresented, but actually over-excluded. There's so many of us out there that are just invisible that it's beyond underrepresentation. It's, at this point, somewhere where we're just not being included on purpose. Why is that? We're being excluded. What can we do about it?
I thought it was really insightful how Charlotte was speaking about protecting disabled creators and how it's not enough just to feature them, but to actually think about what the backlash might be. I think a lot of times, we advise brands to work with disabled creators, especially to get white label their content and get their media out in front of disabled audiences, because we know that disabled creators attract disabled audiences. But one thing that was really interesting that I hadn't really thought of before is just how do we protect them, especially in today's environment when there are so many different forms of malicious litigation and malicious trolling. How do we protect those creators? And I think it's something that a lot of brands don't think about. And it just really extended it past surface level inclusion of how do you actually back these creators?
Okay, Martin, so we've just finished our second ever Included event. How did it go?
Went very well. It's in some ways every event we're talking about similar stuff. Obviously it's about disability inclusion, marketing, representation, all that good stuff. But at the same time, different people come. The panelists were so good today. I feel like as an agency we're really clear at how to talk about it, but I love how these allies and partners are just saying the same things as well. It's really good to hear that, and I could see everyone in the audience was nodding along, and the questions were phenomenal, really thoughtful, clever questions as well. So yeah, I'm feeling happy with it all.